Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth. Believe it or not, this is the fourth time I'm trying to say this. I'm going to get it right this time. If you're going to open a retirement account, there's a lot of questions you're going to have. We work with beginners and they have a lot of questions. There are at least 4 questions that you need to ask yourself or possibly me before you open a retirement account, so let's get started. Number 1, how much risk are you willing to take? That's a big question, right? You would think a lot of people would come to me and I find that they're taking too much risk. It's actually the opposite. Most of you guys aren't taking enough risk because everything on the internet says index funds, index funds, index funds, because you're supposedly saving money. You're saving fractions of a penny by going with some of these funds, but you're not getting the exposure to take the risk that you may be wanting to take. Now, that's not everybody, but I'm saying if you want to be aggressive, you're missing out. And the money that you're trying to save now, literally fractions of a penny that you're trying to save now, is costing you thousands of dollars when you retire, so we need to talk about this. So one of the things, when you go to jazzwealth.com, hopefully, and you open an account or transfer your account to us, you're gonna get a profile from me, and one of the questions on this profile is gonna be this, and I want you to answer in the comment section below. You tell me what you wanna do, and this will give you an idea of the type of risk that you take. All right, we understand game shows, right? We don't normally understand investing, but we understand game shows. If you were on a game show, this is literally one of the questions I ask my clients. If you're on a game show and you just won $25,000 and you have to choose one of the following, which would you choose? A, take the $25,000 and run. Just cash in and move on. No, playing any more games, just take the dough. Okay, so would you do A, just take the money and run? B, would you risk the $25,000 for a 50% chance that you might get $75,000? That's B. C, would you take the $25,000, risk it for a 20% chance that you make $100,000? Or D, would you take the $25,000 and risk it all for a 5% chance that you could make $500,000? What's the answer? What do you think? Put it in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Now, this is just kind of a fun question, right? It helps us understand your risk. Not all the questions are like this. The rest of them are very detailed, but we like to keep it fun, right? We understand a game show, and if I could wrap your mind around $25,000 in a game show, well, that's kind of similar to investing, right? We have that money. We're at some point going to be having that kind of money. What would you do with it? And we want to understand the risk that you want to take going forward. So tip number 1, understand the risk, or have someone help you understand the type of risk you want to take. Number 2, what type of investments do you want, or what type of investments do you not want, right? Everybody knows what they're not interested in, okay? We don't know a lot about the stock market. As far as you as a beginner, you might not have a lot of experience or know the right questions to ask, but you might know some things that you're not interested in. Tobacco, alcohol, you may not want to invest in that or support that cause, and that's okay. But here's what we want to focus on. These are key words that you want to use with an advisor or whoever you're talking to. If you're talking to someone and you're a young person, let's say you're 35 years old or younger, if they're talking about dividends, income, bonds, things like that, they're trying to sell you something. Nothing wrong with it. Everybody's got to make a dollar, I understand, but they're trying to sell you something that's not in your best interest. See, at Jazz Wealth, I don't sell anything. I sell myself. I sell the trust that I hopefully have with you guys to consider me to manage your retirement accounts. So when I work with you, if you're young, 35 or under, or have 10 years left to retirement or more, then we're going to talk about growth, exposure, growth diversification. We're going to use words like that. That's how you want to communicate to somebody that you're willing to take some risk while you're young. And you should. You're young. You have plenty of time to let your money grow. Now, as you get older, or if you're already somewhere around 50, maybe getting closer to retirement or what you want to think of as retirement, now we're going to talk about more safety, security. We're going to use the word bonds more. We're going to use dividends. We're going to use income more. We're going to use those words because we don't want to risk everything that you're trying to save. We want to start slowing that train down, and we want to start securing what it is that you've saved, okay? So tip number 2 is at least have an idea what type of investments do you want as they pertain to your risk. All right, maybe you just want to invest in stocks, that's cool, but at least have an understanding so we can have that conversation of what you absolutely must have and what you could live without. Number 3, what are your expected returns? What do you expect to make out of this? Now, no advisor is ever going to say, I can promise you X%. If they do, that's not legitimate. They're trying to steal your money. That's legitimately a Ponzi scheme in that case. It's probably too good to be true. Anyone that promises you a certain return is literally breaking the rules that the SEC has enforced and teaches us that we're not allowed to do. So you're trying to decide, like, what's the projected return? What should I expect to make here? Okay, I'll ask you a question. If the markets are up 10% in a year, what would you expect your portfolio to be up? Now, if you answered 10%, that's an acceptable answer, of course. Then we're going to talk in terms of market participation. When you schedule a call with me, I'm going to say, what do you think? If the market's up 10%, what would you like to see? If you say 10%, then I'm going to say, okay, we're going to build a portfolio that will move 1 for 1 with the market. Maybe a little better, somewhere really close. Now, you can also answer that question higher. I've had people say before, if the market's up 10%, I want 20, right? I want to be that aggressive. Okay, well then we can build a portfolio for that as well that will literally try to outpace the market's returns and historically has done that. Now the answer can actually be much lower. What if you were just trying to save some money for a house and you realize the bank's not paying you very much? You're willing to take a little risk, but you don't want an obscene amount of risk. You're saying, I'm willing to risk a little bit to make 2%. So if the market's up 10%, Dustin, I want to make 2%. So that means if the market falls 10%, I only want to lose 2%. That's better than I'm going to do in my money market fund, but I can't risk all this money because I have a short-term goal in mind. That's acceptable too. The point is, we got to get you start thinking, what are you saving for? If it's retirement, then we have a certain game plan. If you're investing for the short term, we need to draw that game plan back and not really be swinging for the fences. All right, number 4, I know this video is getting a little long. I usually get right to the point, but this is exciting. I like talking about this stuff. All right, number 4, last thing, we'll keep it short, I promise. What are these investments costing you, and what is this advice costing you? If you hire somebody such as me, what's that going to cost you? How do you pay for that? Right? The investments that we choose, does it cost you anything? These are all questions you want to ask. So number 4, just ask about fees. Now there's really a couple ways that companies can charge you fees. They can tell you that there's no fees, and you think, well, this is too good to be true. Yeah, all right, let's do it. But in reality, just think about this for a second. A company like Vanguard, they have some products where they say, we actually don't charge you anything. How is that? Even if they charged you a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent times all the money that's on the planet, they couldn't possibly pay for those buildings, the commercials, everything that they do, the customer service, those great, back ends, the software technology. They're charging you something, right? So one of the ways that a company can charge you is to say, we won't charge you anything, just go with us. And then make the money when they put the investments in your account. You see, if a company owns an investment, if I owned Jazz Wealth mutual funds, couldn't I just sell it to you at any price that I want? No matter what it cost me, I would have a built-in cost. But if the built-in cost was, I don't know, $20 a share, couldn't I sell it to you for $22.50? You'd never know the difference. Same thing when you go to sell it. If you go to sell it, couldn't I say, the price is actually $20? So I just simplified it, okay? That was a super simplified way of explaining things, but that's essentially what they do. Nothing wrong with it. You just have to know that it really is costing you something when they tell you, don't worry, the building pays for itself, and the Super Bowl commercials, those were donated, come on. The second thing is, in the exchange traded funds that you may buy, those are very popular right now, those all have fees. But the fees, you don't pay them, they don't come out of your account. The fees are built into the product. And all that means is that, let's say the exchange traded fund costs $20 and 1 penny. Well, the next day it may open up at $20 even. And that 1 penny is a fee, right? That's their fee that they charge. Now, it's not 1 penny, it's very, very small. But over time, as the exchange traded fund does whatever it's going to do, the actual fee is gradually taken out little by little. And I promise you, it's a fraction of a fraction. Like it's a tiny, tiny amount because they're very popular. Lots of people use them so they can make their money slowly over time. All right, long video. I'm going on vacation. I'm going to be doing videos from my phone, but if I can help you, feel free to go to jazzwealth.com, click schedule a call, put the local time in there you want to speak. I might be calling you from the road. I might be calling you from a plane. I might be calling you from the middle of the mountains in Tennessee. That's where I'm headed. I'm excited. So, but still, we can still speak. If you'd like to get started, go to jazzwealth.com, click invest now. You can start the application, and I will follow up with you personally. Thanks for watching, and I hope to talk to you soon.